So here is Fifi at Rocking Horse Winter 1. So this will be her first event coming out this season. So we are in the open prelim and just working on coming down that center line nice and straight. And she's pretty good about that. Coming into my corner. Sometimes when she shows her tension a little bit, she gets a little bit kind of off the contact, and but that lengthened trot felt very good. And then that turn does come up very quickly, so it can be a little bit of abrupt for her, where she's like, oh gosh, you're touching me, now we're going into a leg yield. And then she made a very nice canter transition. And there, again, just a little bit of the tension when we did our canter loop. And now I'm doing a lengthen on the 20-meter circle, really working on her balance, trying to get her to bend through the rib cage. And then I have to make sure I get my canter back at A. And now across the center line. And she did that a smidge early. She dropped down to the trot a little soon, but I just kind of went with it. And again, our canter loop. And you can see she's just getting a little bobby against the contact. I'm just trying to get her to kind of stay in between my aids and working on the relaxation. So that means I'm not always going to kind of go for the biggest expression. If they're a little tense and tight, I kind of just go for that average just to work on the relaxation so I can get that, and so then I can later on ask for a little bit more. She comes into the walk transition well, and again, sometimes she can get a little, I call it like Stevie Wonder at the walk, but I'm just going to work on pushing her forward into the free walk, and she has quite a nice walk. And making sure when I pick up the contact that I keep the walk marching forward. And again, you pick up the trot, and then you have that 10-meter turn and into our leg yield. I could have a little bit more crossover through that rib cage, but again, I'm kind of taking what she's giving me. And now we're going into the stretchy trot. And then I'm going to pick my reins back up, and we're nearing the end of the test. And for her, it was a pretty solid first outing, I think. Just a little bit of tension. And she ended up scoring a 34.2. So overall, I was really happy with her test and her first time back in the dressage ring. So now here's Fifi in the show jump. This one was a little bit awkward of how to get to the first fence, but she's pretty sporty that way. And for Fifi, she likes to go a little bit more forward. That's kind of like her style. You see she gets a little bit fussy just because I'm trying to help her steady just a little bit. But she's really good at keeping a shape off of that forward stride. But I still have to be able to balance every now and then. But she's really jumping well. And I really try to stay balanced and out of her way. I'm just trying to manage her balance and speed every now and then working on staying very still with my body. And really finding those shots that I can allow her to keep on coming. She was actually very good here because she waited. And that can be really hard for her sometimes. And then coming to the last line. And again, so really nice clean round. Then we headed on to cross country, and she was feeling very good again, jumping really, really well. And for this first combination, I knew it rode in a 5, but I saw some horses having a little bit of trouble kind of getting down there in a 5, so I wanted to keep on motoring, and I went, oh dear, we got there in 4. But Miss Scopy Fifi had no problem with that. So she's feeling very good, actually galloping a lot more relaxed. And just working on coming to the water here. And she is a very brave girl and always really good about the water. So that's really never a worry. Again, my biggest thing is that I'm staying balanced and just trying to manage a little bit of the control so I can keep her in that proper speed when we need it. But she is fairly quick off the floor and very quick on the backside of a fence. You really have to be ready to go vroom vroom because she can land and move. Jumps that really nicely out of stride. Now coming to the sunken road where we kind of go down into this hill, and then we have a bounce bank up to a 2-stride skinny, and she was spot on there. This was pretty fun, seeing some of fellow riders walking the course. They saw my helmet cam, so they gave a good wave. But you can see Fifi is quite fun. She's feeling very confident, jumping everything out of stride. And I'm going to steady her here, as this is the coffin, which you can't really see. We go into the woods, but she did that pretty spot on. And again, she's feeling very confident, very easy for her, so I really liked this feeling, especially for the first event of the season. At these angles here, this is the only part where I felt her question me a little bit. And you'll notice I've got those ears on Fifi. It seems to help her a little bit, just stay a little bit more focused. And she also doesn't like to have back boots on. But she jumped that table really well. Coming to the final combination here, which was a corner. So I was curious to see how she's going to feel about this, but she locked on and did great. We managed to move up into 3rd place, so really pleased with her.